Hello, welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. This is Buster. He wants a treat. I said the T word. He knows right where to go. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes, you are. Speak. Speak. We've been fumbling a lot lately. I don't know what's wrong with us, but our mojo is off. Speaking of mojo being off, today is Friday, and today is the day that we get the test results back for Breezy, and for some reason I'm really nervous. I'm less nervous about the thought of her not being bred than the thought of her actually having CL. So if you've missed what's going on, I have a herd of about 25 dairy goats. Not all of them are permanent residents, but that's how many goats I have on my farm right now. And we do annual disease testing. This is actually the second year that we've tested the whole herd. Prior to this year, I had just done spot testing and everybody always came back negative, and still everybody is continuing to come back negative. This last full herd disease test that we did, there was one goat, Breezy, who came back negative for CL, but there was a little note next to it that said retest in 2 to 6 months. So the test that we use, or the lab that we used, is UBRL. And one of the lab techs, maybe he's the owner of the lab, I'm not really sure, Omar, he calls to ask if you have any questions. And when I had spoken to Omar, I said, yeah, what does that mean? And he said, well, there's a range of negative. Their levels, I believe, of antibody can be of a certain range and it still be considered negative. They don't get to suspect until they kind of bump up into the next range of figures, and then they are positive past a certain range. And she still was in the negative range, but she was at the upper end of negative. And he had a bunch of questions for me. He had asked if Breezy, who is this goat right here, that's Breezy, she looks a lot like her mama, just a little bit longer hair, but he had asked if Breezy was getting bullied in the barn, which she's not. She fits in really well. I wouldn't say that she's like the highest goat on the totem pole here, but she's not the lowest, that's for sure. I actually genuinely never see Breezy getting in any kind of scuffle, and so I was like, no, I mean, she never seems stressed for any reason. The next question was, well, have we tested her mother? And I said, yeah, Talia. We've been testing Talia ever since we've had her, and Talia's always tested negative. And he said, and you tested the whole herd? I said, yeah, we've tested the whole herd and everybody's negative. And he said, well, just don't worry about it then. I'll remove that and you don't have to worry about it. And I said, no, I want to be transparent about our disease status, and I'm really curious to know if she does pop positive, where that even came from. It's not really something that I necessarily have to worry about right now. It's almost 3 p.m. at this exact moment, and we should have test results within the next couple of hours. And I had asked Omar the question, I said, hey, could it have been a wasp sting? Because Breezy got stung by a wasp just a couple of weeks before we did our disease test, and I physically saw it. I was down here in the barn, and there had been a wasp nest right here. You can kind of see the remnants from it still. And Breezy had just come tearing out of the barn, and she was shaking her head, and I said, oh my goodness, Breezy, did they get you? And you know, there were several wasps flying around in the air, and when I brought her up on the milk stand and tried to touch her head, she was guarding her head a lot. She did not want me touching her. So she got stung and it hurt, but I never noticed like a swelling. And I have been paying close attention to her over the last 3 months since we got the upper negative test result. I've been feeling all around her body where the CL lumps can come up, and I have felt nothing, I have seen nothing, but also CL can be just internal. Those CL lumps and abscesses can form on the internal organs, and it can spread through manure if those abscesses burst, and we wouldn't know about it if that happened if we were not testing. So I'm just trying to like mentally prepare myself. If she pops up positive, where could it have possibly come from? And I have one theory. CL can live on the land in the pastures and things for about 8 months before it just degrades and isn't valid or viable anymore. I had asked Omar if it could come in on hay, and he said no, it would have to be on some kind of like barn surface. Like she could have gotten it off of like a hard surface, but it's unlikely to come in on cured hay. However, we do go to all these Amish farms and things that are, you know, full of animals, a lot of animals that come from places like auctions, which are, it's very easy to pick up a disease at an auction. And even though I haven't set foot in these places, and I have not set foot in like other pastures or barns where they keep goats, the fact that the other people who are there managing these stores and farms and things have been in those places, and their shoes have been walking around really everywhere, I could see how I could have picked something up on my shoes elsewhere outside of the farm and drug it back here. That's like the only way that I can conceive that Breezy would come up with CL, because nobody else in the herd was close to a suspect case. So I might be worrying for nothing. Can you see this kitty over here? Monty? See how he goes right through the electric fence? Good boy. I've had some questions about the kitties and the electric fence. Right now, I have the Energizer and the fence set to where the lower wire that would be electrified is not electrified, because it is touching the grass and it's touching the hay down here, and the kittens are moving through it. So it is hot higher up, but it's not hot lower down. Nefarious is trying to eat you. Watch out, Nefarious. You're gonna lose a nose. There you go, Chloe. Hi, handsome man. How are you doing? Yeah, no, we don't jump. Nope. So being in the goat world, I do know quite a few goat people, and not everybody does the full disease panel. Actually, the farm that we bought Mooch and Foxy from this last summer, they test for CAE and Yoni's, but they don't test for CL. Their website says something like CAE and Yoni's negative, and we haven't had any CL lumps or bumps. Because I have heard that quite a few people have experienced things like false positives, and that is probably just annoying to deal with. I don't have a giant herd. I do appreciate knowing that something about Breezy is off, and I don't think I clarified before, but Omar didn't think that the wasp sting could have caused her levels to be elevated, that possibly could indicate that she's on her way up to a suspect for CL, which I found interesting. I mean, if being stressed out by being bullied could increase the levels, I don't understand why being stressed out by being attacked by wasps couldn't cause it, but I don't know. I'm not the professional. I will say that the scare of it does make me want to change a couple of my practices. I think it's going to be smart for me to keep barn shoes. I'll have to have different shoes for different weather instances, but I think it would be smart for me to have shoes that I don't necessarily leave the farm with. Now, I will be leaving the farm with some shoes and coming back to the farm with some shoes, and there is the chance that I could track something in still that then I could walk over with my farm shoes. But I don't know, it's something just makes me feel better about having barn shoes that are worn here and not anywhere else. That helps my biosecurity be a little bit more secure. Can you guys see how Elsa is showing already? Girl, you've got my minis on board. Yes, you do. Watch out. Don't run away, please. Thank you. What an angel. I noticed that Christine was in a heat yesterday. She was over with the bucks, flagging her tail. Christine is one of my goats that does have like a leaky udder. If she lays down, milk will come out of her udder, and that is not ideal. Udder that opens up easily like that is prone to mastitis. Thankfully, we've actually never dealt with mastitis here. But yesterday and today, because she spent so much time standing, hanging out around the butts, her udder has gotten the chance to fill up a lot more than it normally gets the chance to, and she's putting a lot of milk in the pail right now. More milk than we've ever gotten out of her. The fact that she has never put a lot of milk in the pail, and the fact that she took 4 years to conceive. Okay, let me back up. I had purchased Christine from a friend with a whole herd of other La Manchas. It was 4 does and a buck, and I wasn't given, I didn't necessarily ask, okay, but I wasn't given a lot of information. It was a little bit of a frustrating situation, to be honest, but I wasn't told that none of the does that I was purchasing had been able to settle a pregnancy in several years. Christine hadn't been able to settle a pregnancy in 4 years. And I learned this later. I learned this after purchasing them. Those La Manchas that I bought were pretty seriously mineral deficient. Their poops were very pale colored. And when I put loose minerals in front of them, they ate it like food. I mean, they gobbled it up. We spent so much money on minerals until they finally balanced out. And out of the 4 does, I could only ever get Christine and one other doe to conceive. The other doe's name was Bunny Hop, and during that kidding with that buck, Bunny Hop's cervix never really seemed to dilate like it should. And in my attempts to help her dilate, there's different things that you can do. Her uterus ruptured, and I don't know that I didn't cause that, to be very truthful. But I learned something recently. You'll probably see her down in the comments. If you don't, I'll put her YouTube channel in the description box. But Full Moon Creamery, she has some gorgeous Nubians, beautiful Nubians, up in my home state of Maine. And she was speaking recently about Cache Valley virus. It is another thing that you can disease test for. We've never disease tested for it because I haven't had the need for it. Apparently, if you experience lots of miscarriages and things, or quite a few does that are having a really hard time conceiving, it's something that you can test for. Apparently, the year that they get Cache Valley virus from the mosquito, that's how it is transmitted, it's mosquito borne, that they can have a hard time conceiving after that because they can have a hard time getting rid of like excess fluid in their uterus. I don't know. I have never tested Christine for anything like Cache Valley. I'm kind of curious if she would show antibodies for it, because once they contract Cache Valley, it looks like they get lifelong immunity, and with lifelong immunity comes the evidence for it by way of antibodies or titers, positive titers for that. It would be very interesting to see if she would pop positive for that, because low milk volume is a symptom of that. Difficulty conceiving is a symptom of that, as well as ringworm. And I do wonder really exactly what happened with Bunny Hop. And I think the next time that we do our full disease panel, or if I get bored one day, I may pull blood for Christine and test for that, because that would just be really interesting to know. Now, from what I've read and seen and talked and heard about, Christine can't necessarily pass it on to the other goats. I don't know though, like if a mosquito bit her and then bit the other goats, could that pass it? I'm not exactly sure. I'm still kind of in the research phase of that, and I'm done breeding Christine, so it doesn't really matter right now. But I thought that was really interesting information that some of you might like to know. Part of my routine with Breezy is just feeling all around in all the places where lumps or bumps could appear. I'll put an image on the screen of common places you'll feel CL bumps. You got baby on board? Is your baby here? Sounds like Chloe's done with her squash. I'll be there in a minute, Chloe. Got one more goat. We just banded Margie's baby Golem. It was a week ago tomorrow, I think. And that little guy, I've had to actually catch him twice to make sure that the band is still on and it didn't break off or something, because he tolerated the banding way better than any other baby that I've seen, which is good. I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but he didn't seem to skip a beat, and right now he's taken quite a bit of milk. I had been getting a lot of milk out of Margie, but the past couple of days he's been getting a lot. Normally I get about a quart out of Margie milking alongside him, and that's what I'm getting right now. Back up, back up. Gotta let me pour it in. So I feed in two separate places, here and here, but they keep knocking the bowls off. Watch out. Back up, ma'am. Get out of the way. There's nothing over there. Crazy, it's like they never eat. Same with you. What's up with you? Behind you. Chloe. There you go. Oh my goodness, I already poured it. You're gonna have to do some investigating with your snoot. You're standing on it. Good girl. Oh, you're so close. Chloe, she's like, where'd it go? How do you not smell it? It smells like licorice. We've been buying a feed by Combat just called Milkmaker Goat Feed. And I think it's got anise or something in it. It does, it smells like licorice. She found it, I just had to walk away. No, nope, I don't need you today, Chloe. I don't need you today. Good girl. So this morning I came out to feed hay to them, and I recently cleaned this out. I moved this over to there, those spent hay. I'm seeing a lot of really nice hay wasted, and I think what they're doing is they're picking through this hay. This is an alfalfa orchard grass. They're picking through that to get to the alfalfa and throwing the orchard grass down. And it's nice orchard grass. There's no reason they should be tossing it like that. So I thought about topping them up so that they would be good until tomorrow, but I think I'm just gonna let them, this is not ideal, but this hay is expensive. I think I'm just gonna let them pick off the ground like Christine is doing right now. She's at least thinking about it. I saw Foxy eating hay off the ground earlier, but I'm not a fan of hay being bedding. I know that goats waste hay, but come on guys, this is good hay. I did also seed this part of their lane here that goes out into the pasture that they have access to. That's ryegrass, and they could eat that too. I guess if you guys get desperate enough, huh? We have quite a few patches of ryegrass that they can partake of. There's one here, there's one over there. You can kind of see the green patch, and then there's one over there. So I feel a lot better about not feeding them hay at this exact moment because I know that there's goodness out there. Hey Monty, you coming to catch some rodents? We appreciate your services here at the barn. Yes, we do. So, just like I suspected, we have the results. Breezy is pregnant. Very good. That's good. And Breezy is CL negative with no notes. All that worrying for nothing. But honestly, worry like that, it gets me into research mode, which has me learning things, which I don't think is bad. Oh, you just laid down. I gotta come in. I'm so sorry. Good morning. You guys enjoying the sun? Yeah, everyone's enjoying the sun out here. There's our girl. Hi, Breezy. All good news for our Breezy girl. I'm really grateful that all of that worked out as we hoped. That does not always happen, but I'm really glad that we decided to check her for pregnancy along with checking her for CL, because we have the confirmation that she is in fact going to have babies for us in the springtime. She's not showing, you know, overly much, so maybe she's got a single in there, but she is pregnant. Oof. Some of the girls really are starting to show. The way that it works in goats is it's lunch on the left and Rugrats on the right, and that's the left of the goat and the right of the goat. So you'll see babies really poking out on their right side. So we're starting to see a little bit there. Some goats are just kind of rotund to begin with, so this doesn't always mean that a goat is pregnant if she's poking out on any side, especially with Nigerian dwarfs. But if you've got a good look, a good eye for your goats, you can really start to see the changes. And these girls in particular are not normally voluptuous like that. They're normally pretty slender. Everybody else is out here partaking of the hay. I relented and gave them some hay this morning instead of asking them to graze, though it's a really nice day. They may still go out there. Little Miss Ilara is Breezy's sister. Hi, ma'am. And she'll be a first freshener in springtime. Shindy's been showing quite a lot. She's got babies on board. And I look forward to all these babies. I say springtime, but it's going to be mostly in the month of February. So it's a beautiful day out here today. I'm gonna take some time away from the camera and enjoy it. I'll see you guys again soon.